If you've ever seen shows like RuPaul's Drag Race, then you'll understand how big the drag community is. Recently, another iconic figure has entered the community. His name is Desmond Napoles, stage named Desmond is Amazing. The main uniqueness factor he has is his age. He's only 11 years old and is pushing the norms of society. One of his quotes expresses his message well: "Be yourself always." Not only has he accumulated over 129,000 followers on Instagram, but he's even made an appearance on Good Morning America.
Please welcome Desmond Napoles, aka Desmond is Amazing.
It's great that someone so young is following their goals despite what anyone else thinks of them. However, there may be something very unsettling going on behind the scenes. I've seen a lot going on about this, and I just want to establish the facts. What Desmond is doing is no doubt very controversial, so naturally, he received a lot of scrutiny. There was no real outrage, however, until on December 1st, a video surfaced of Desmond dancing in a gay bar. As he takes off his dress to reveal the crop top he's wearing, the men start throwing dollar bills at him up on stage. This video worried a lot of people, as it was interpreted by the internet as sexualizing this kid in front of all of these adults in the bar. One user on Yelp even said, "I left after seeing a child dance on stage for money at nighttime. This is on Saturday night, and I have been feeling disturbed ever since." People also seem to be focusing on another Yelp review that mentioned the bar's no cell phone policy, suggesting this policy may have been put in place to keep something like this from ever being recorded. The bar's webpage, however, claims this policy is to keep people immersed in the present moment. Obviously, someone broke the policy to get this video. Desmond's mother responded to this by saying that any criticism of the event was, quote, "nothing more than blatant homophobia." As people became increasingly worried for the well-being of Desmond after this event, they began digging. This is where a YouTube channel called Pew comes into the picture. Honestly, I could probably dedicate a whole video to this channel alone, but that's not what this is about. On this channel, there are a few videos of Desmond is Amazing, along with 2 actual interviews with him. The guy on the left is Michael Allig, and the guy on the right is Ernie Glam. Michael Allig is the founder of a late 80s and early 90s clubgoer group called Club Kids. It was a subculture of people at the time known for their flamboyant personality and appearance. In 1997, something happened that made him lose his fame. He was arrested for murder. On March 17th, 1996, one of the Club Kids members, Angel Melendez, who was also a drug dealer, was at Michael Allig's apartment when they got into an argument over drug debt. The encounter quickly turned violent as Melendez began to beat up Allig. Allig called out for help when his roommate hit Melendez on the head with a hammer 3 times. Allig then smothered him with either a pillow or a sweatshirt, poured a chemical cleaner into his mouth, and then taped his mouth shut. Both Allig and his roommate kept Melendez's body in a bathtub for the next week before dismembering the body and disposing of it in the Hudson River. Following Melendez's disappearance, Allig told pretty much everyone that he murdered him. Seriously, everyone.
He was one of those copycats that we hate, and so we killed him. I killed Angel, and that's the kind of thing that gets me in trouble.
3 months after that clip I just showed you, Melendez's body was discovered by children playing in the water, and Allig was arrested. He was offered a plea deal of 10 to 20 years if he accepted the manslaughter charge. He was released from prison in 2014. Obviously, once people found out about this, they weren't okay with the idea of a young boy being with a convicted murderer. Things only get worse from here. Allig has a display of a lot of artwork on his website. A lot of his art consists of drawings of kids, drugs, and sometimes a combination of the two. One of these art pieces can be seen in the background of the interview with Desmond. On the painting, we can see the word Rohypnol. Rohypnol is a powerful benzodiazepine that most of you probably know as roofies. People have noted that Desmond seems a little tired and out of it, as well as noticing his speech isn't the best.
I know if they're sponsoring.
They might be soon.
So it was a big shopping extravaganza there.
Yes.
Did you buy a lot of stuff?
No.
No? Why not?
No.
Too expensive?
Yeah.
For this reason, a lot of people believe that Alec and Glam drugged Desmond before bringing him on the show. Now, these are some pretty heavy allegations, so we need to make sure we differentiate between what's true and what isn't. These seem to be the reasons that people believe these two drugged Desmond. Alec's criminal history, the Rohypnol painting, Alec's possible current drug use, and the fact that Desmond seems to be high. So let's go through all of this. I want to start by saying everyone is so hung up on Alec's criminal history that I think it's clouding their judgment. Yes, he killed someone, but I don't think he's the cold-hearted killer everyone makes him out to be. It's not like he killed some random Good Samaritan. He killed a drug dealer that attacked him, and it happened in 1996. He served his time, and now it's over. Was it wrong for him to do that? Of course. But I think it's faulty reasoning to say that just because he committed a crime in the past, that means he's guilty of what everyone accuse him of now. Let's stop looking at the past and just use the present facts to judge the situation. Next, we have the Rohypnol painting. This on its own is pretty poor proof of him drugging Desmond. If he actually drugged Desmond with Rohypnol, do you seriously think he would keep a painting with the word written on it right behind him during the video? Probably not. That's just screaming to be caught. But then again,
I killed Angel, and
regardless, this painting in the back proves nothing. Next on the list is Alec's possible drug use. I've looked through a lot of the videos on this channel, and in my opinion, Alec appears to be high a lot of the time.
Snafu.
A snafu?
Snafu.
Okay.
A snafu. Paul.
That, coupled with the nature of his paintings, I would say it's safe to assume he's currently using drugs. While this can definitely be a point of contention, I still think it's a leap to say just because he's using drugs means he also gave this drug to a child. Finally, we have the fact that Desmond seems a little drugged up in the interviews he did with Alec. But I don't know how Desmond usually acts, so it's tough to tell. A good way to determine this is to see how he acts in other videos of him online.
Bianca Del Rio is hilarious, and I love how she's always shading people. Although I shaded her. You need to get a real fan.
I'll admit, in pretty much every other video I've seen him in, he's acting a lot different than he was in this video. That's not to say he was on drugs, but he definitely seems uncharacteristically jaded. It's still a tough call though. It's easy to assume he was on drugs, but none of us were there. One thing that makes me doubt it is the fact that Desmond's mother is in the room with them.
Did your mom take you to DragCon or did you go by yourself?
My mom took me.
Oh, his mother's standing right over there. Hi, Wendy.
Now, if we can...
Although a lot of people doubt Desmond's mother's parenting, I really doubt she would allow her son to be drugged by these people. Alec and Glam did make a video addressing these accusations. They essentially just said these accusations were ridiculous and false. One thing that's interesting here is that Alec said in this video that he was not a murderer.
Murderer. I mean, like, the response would be ridiculous. No, I'm not, and no, we did not put it. I mean, like...
We all know that he is a convicted murderer, so the fact that he's lying here seems suspicious. Really though, I don't think he's intentionally lying. I think it is using a very strict definition of the word murderer. Murder is defined as the premeditated killing of someone. The murder of Melendez wasn't premeditated. Furthermore, the definition of murderer is a person who commits murder. That's present tense. So since he has only killed once in the past, I could see why he dodges this definition. Also, technically, he was arrested for manslaughter, not murder. In my personal opinion, I don't see any strong reason to believe that these guys did any harm to Desmond. Although I do agree that Desmond probably shouldn't be hanging around Alec due to other reasons. Overall, you just need to leave Alec and Glam alone.
do drag? Everyone can do drag.
Everyone.
Another clip that got many people worrying was a live stream in which Desmond and a drag queen seemed to be doing some type of Q&A session. At one point, the drag queen mentions ketamine, and then Desmond imitates sorting something off his arm.
What has this world come to? It's come to a world where drag kids actually exist.
And people do ketamine on a couch.
The fact that he shows this level of familiarity with drugs, let alone ketamine, which I feel like most 11-year-olds haven't heard of, is alarming. Desmond's mother made another post on his Instagram account responding to people's concerns. She essentially said Desmond is not on drugs and that he is very against them. She attributed his knowledge of drug use to television and school. This isn't too unbelievable. 11 years old would place Desmond in 5th or 6th grade, and by that time, I definitely had basic knowledge of drugs, although I definitely didn't know what ketamine was. I'll say this, I do believe that Desmond probably is not using any illicit drugs. However, it wouldn't surprise me to find out that during his drag career, he spends his time amongst people who do use drugs. I mean, we already know that he spent some time with Michael Alec. If this is true, it needs to be something that Desmond's mother prevents. Speaking of Desmond's mother, that brings me into a whole new topic. Desmond is very young and impressionable, and in addition to that, he has autism. Some people have questioned whether all of this is really his choice or not. Luckily, we have some resources at our disposal to look into this. In one of Desmond's interviews with Pew, he explains how he first got into drag.
Yes.
Okay. So, when did you decide that you wanted to start wearing makeup and putting on these fabulous outfits?
When I was 2, I started dressing up.
He says that he was first inspired to do drag when he saw an episode of RuPaul's Drag Race when he was only 2 years old.
So where did this come from? Was it your own idea?
From Paul.
I think they
What happened? You were watching RuPaul's drag show one day and
she
then...
hypnotized you.
Season 1, the first episode, I was like, oh, I love what they're doing. I want to be able to do it.
Following this, he would wear dresses and use towels as wigs. At the age of 6 or 7, he started wearing makeup.
So what about the makeup? How did that start?
6, 7.
Okay.
Can't remember much.
According to Desmond, this is all his idea, no one else's. From a certain angle, the story seems a little odd. First of all, he seems to have these vivid memories of watching RuPaul and experimenting with drag when he was just 2 years old. Although it's possible, most people don't start really forming memories until they're about 3 or 4. Additionally, later on in the interview, Desmond says that only a few months prior to this interview, at age 10, he asked to see pictures of RuPaul when he was younger.
Well, you told your mom you asked your mom to get you a picture of RuPaul, didn't you? You wanted to see what she looked like when she was younger.
That was like a few months ago.
If RuPaul was truly his inspiration at age 2, then why would he have waited 8 more years before being interested in RuPaul's past? Some have speculated there are outside influences affecting Desmond. Now, contrary to all of this, one thing I can say is that looking at a lot of Desmond's pictures and performances, he seems genuinely happy. He looks like he's having a great time. If all of this truly is Desmond's idea, and there are no outside influences, then I'm happy for him. He should be encouraged to pursue his goals. However, he's young and impressionable, so his parents need to provide good guidance for him along the way. And if there's any grooming or malintent here, it needs to be identified and ended as soon as possible. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the flip side.